Hi, Sunday Besties. Try not to spill my coffee, it's very full. Today I want to talk about something that I think holds a lot of us back, and that is waiting until everything is perfect to launch like a course or a business idea. I know you've heard the phrase progress over perfection. We want to work towards what we're working towards. But it's not going to be a perfect journey to get there. And I thought today was the perfect day to use this mug. I haven't used it in a while because it's kind of small for my coffee taste, but I don't know, hopefully you can see it. It's Walt Disney in front of Cinderella Castle. And you may or may not know he passed away before the castle was built, so it's kind of like an overlay of the land that he was on with the castle after it was completed. And it says vision, and it's kind of fun to do the impossible, which is my favorite Walt Disney quote. And I thought it was appropriate today because sometimes what we're doing feels impossible. And sometimes it's kind of fun. And sometimes we get caught up in things not being exactly the way that we pictured them. And it can really throw a monkey wrench into things. You know what I'm saying? And I'm really guilty about this. Like, I will be the first to admit it, because I start working on something and then I'm like, I can't put it out yet because it's not ready. Meanwhile, I'm jumping 87 tabs over to something that I thought of last night that I can do right now, and it just throws everything else off. And then I don't end up putting out the one thing because it's not done and it's not perfect. And I start on something else that also ends up not ever being done because I think of something else that I want to work on, and it just kind of snowballs from there. And I think that's where we've got to like press pause and think, okay, well, this is, mostly done, almost ready. What can I do to get this to the minimum state that it needs to be in to be able to sell it? And I'm not saying minimum state as in selling something that's not worth selling, that's not valuable to the people that you are selling to, but something that's like, maybe the PDF isn't fully polished, but it has all of the information in it. Or maybe the video needs some tweaks like in editing, but it teaches everything that it needs to teach. Or maybe you've uploaded everything into a course platform, but you didn't get all the branding done. Okay. Like things like that are, make your product not exactly where you want it to be, but it doesn't mean that it's not valuable and not ready to be sold. Like, you don't need to keep putting off getting it out there. Get it out there. Make tweaks later. Nobody who's purchased the product from you is going to be mad if you update it later. Just gives them another reason to go back into it and check it out again, right? I think there's a lot of pressure out there to have a big fancy platform, super polished videos, or a huge community. When I tried to launch my membership a few years ago, I thought it had to be all of these things at once, fresh out at the gate. Spill my coffee. But that's actually a big reason why it didn't stick. Not because people didn't sign up, but because I spent all this time trying to make it what I thought people wanted, adding a bunch of almost like no nonsense elements to it, like little PDFs and things that I don't even know if they really added value. I just wanted to have a giant list of things in it, and I started feeling like it wasn't even really like, I think it was valuable. When I go back through the stuff, I think that there's good content in it, and maybe I can reuse some of it. But I started thinking, like, is this even really what I want to put out in the world? You know what I mean? Like, it was a membership it was supposed to, if I'm being real, I never wanted to like teach people how to be virtual assistants, like a virtual assistant coach or whatever, because I really wanted out of that circle of coaches for coaches, and teaching people how to be VAs isn't necessarily coaching coaches, but it was just like a cycle that was just very internal. Like, you're just kind of with the same type of people all the time. Like, and that's not a bad thing. People need to teach people how to be VAs. I took courses on how to be a virtual assistant in the beginning too. That's not a bad thing. But I didn't want to be another person who was just teaching people to be more of me, if that makes sense. Like that, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not what I wanted to do. So I created this membership, but the only real knowledge that I had was how to be a VA. So I was trying to spin it in a way of like, for, you know, solopreneurs who just don't know how to do the back end business stuff that you might want to hire a VA for. But it was still called like VA Academy or something like that. So it's still very much like marketed to or appealed to people who wanted to be VAs. And like, that's not a bad thing. But ultimately, that wasn't really what I wanted to do. And so as I'm building this out though, and I'm adding all of these things that I think that people might want, but ultimately wasn't really, I don't think, adding value to the program. And I didn't want to teach people how to be virtual assistants. So I ended up just closing the whole thing down because none of it felt good to me anymore. All of that to say, I thought that the membership needed to be all of these different things all at the same time, and all had to be perfect right out of the gate. And so while I ended up determining that what I was like teaching in the course was not what I wanted to be teaching, it also came down to like trying to put too much in it at once and trying to make sure everything was perfect, and not really building it out the way that I wanted to. The thing is, people don't necessarily expect it to be perfect. They just want clarity and support with what they came to you for help with. Now, where I'm at right now is that I'm building my business around my full-time job. Now, my full-time job is usually 35 to 37-ish hours a week, 5 days a week. So I do my recording usually on my days off. I do client work on my days off. And then I do kit work for ConvertKit on my days off, but also before and after work as needed from the store. So it's, you know, it's a hectic schedule. And I know I'm not alone in this, because I'm trying to speak to those of us who are in the same boat, maybe having a full-time job and trying to build a business around that. I think that we need to normalize messy launches, normalize maybe the email doesn't get sent out on time, normalize learning on the go, or having to do bite-sized bits of information, or just straight up trial and error, because we can't follow a roadmap of somebody who's not working a full-time job and has all the time to spend on their business, because that's just not how time works for us right now. I don't even have kids. If you have kids, that's a whole other layer you've got to work around. I have this fur baby that you can't see, but she's laying here right next to me. So, you know, she makes me take her outside every couple of hours. But other than that, I'm really only working around the job. And that in itself is tough enough. But I think we need to give ourselves some grace when it comes to our schedules and planning things out and this and that. And we can't expect to necessarily be able to follow the timeline of somebody who is not working another job. And the same way that my business doesn't look Instagram worthy right now, which is fine because I don't Instagram. Your course doesn't have to either. It just has to help your students. That's the bottom line. It has to help your students. What's the simplest, most straightforward way for you to get your content out there to your students? So what if instead of trying to build the perfect course in the fanciest platform, you just focus on making it clear and simple for your students? A 3-module mini course with simple actions that give them results, even if they're minor results, is better than a 12-module monster course that nobody finishes. Done is better than perfect, and honestly, done is what gets paid. If it's done, you can sell it. It doesn't have to be perfect to sell. It just has to deliver on the transformation that you're promising when you sell it. But what kind of platform it's in doesn't matter. Honestly, this is why I started offering my course build service. I know how easy it is to overcomplicate building out a course or a membership. So I can help you take the ideas that you have and organize them in a way that makes it really easy for your students to work through and get to the end. So if you've been waiting for perfect, this is your permission slip to start messy. Just do it messy. Just do it messy. It's more authentic anyways if you do it messy. Nobody believes that anybody starts out with the perfect course or program or anything out the gate. So start messy. It's totally fine. Your course doesn't have to be perfect. Your business doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, friends, this is me telling you once and for all, go start that messy course. And tell me in the comments if you've been holding off or holding back on getting your course created because you're afraid it's not going to be perfect. I want to know. Tell me what you're struggling with, okay? And I will see you next time. Bye.